Hey, what's up, everyone? Kino here, and in today's video, we are going to be doing a review of the new Francis Ford Coppola movie, Megalopolis. Now, I'm going to keep this spoiler free, but I'm just going to say up front, there is no story to this film, at least not one that would, if I told you what happens in the movie, it would not ruin the movie. The movie's not capable. It's just an experience watching it. The story is kind of irrelevant, but I'm gonna try to keep it high level because the movie just came out today. At least for me, I went and watched it. I think some people maybe got to see it earlier at the film festivals and stuff like that, but today's the first day it came out. I went and watched it, and yeah, it's a movie, all right. A very, very weird movie. And if you've not been paying attention to any of the background stuff going on with this film, Francis Ford Coppola spent a lot of his own money in this film because he apparently couldn't get funding for the film, and I kind of understand why. Like, if if I was a studio and I invested hundreds of millions of my own money into this film, and he showed me this afterwards, I'd be like, what the fuck? So he sold part of his winery. I'm not sure which one. He owns multiple wineries. One of the famous ones is the Coppola winery that you see in like every grocery store, but he also owns another one called Rubicon, I think it is. I went and visited it a while back. Really, really cool place. Hope it's not that one he sold, but he sold off part of his wineries in order to fund this film, and I have a sneaking suspicion that he's not going to make his money back on this. I went and saw it. It was a relatively early screening. It was around 6 when I saw it, but there were four or five other people in the theater besides me and my wife, and two of them I saw get up in the middle and didn't come back. So yeah, it's kind of a mess of a film, intentionally so. I will say that it's a very weird film. You know, a lot of CGI, but like goofy CGI that's meant to look fake. Like, it's not going for realism in any sense of the word. Like, the film does not take itself super seriously. The style is very avant-garde, very it's just all over the place, and there's a lot of special effects, a lot of transitions, a lot of very weird scene techniques and stuff like that. You see my dog running around in the background, that's what that is. But yeah, it's like I said, the film itself, the story of the film is not really important, nor could I really tell you what happened in the film. If you read like some of the Wikipedia stuff, you'll know that it's a sci-fi fantasy epic film type thing. The main character, Adam Driver, is an architect. It's sort of based on Roman history, but not real Roman history. It's like they jam packed a whole bunch of details from like ancient Rome, but the movie takes place in like the modern age with like cars and stuff. So it's very weird. In fact, the Roman aspect of it felt like someone like read the Wikipedia pages of a bunch of Rome history and just threw all the characters in here. All the characters are named after kind of famous Romans, but not in like a real historical way. Like, they're just kind of thrown together, and it's like, oh, this character is kind of similar to this character. We're gonna call him that, and so this is not a historical movie. History buffs doesn't need to review this film. It's definitely in the realm of fantasy. It just kind of takes some inspiration from Roman history. It's really hard to say like whether I liked it or I didn't like it. My wife, who's with me, is not like a huge film person. Kind of sticks to more the mainstream stuff. She absolutely hated the film. She's like, I could not wait for it to be over so we could leave. And I totally understood that. I didn't love it. I didn't hate it either. I thought it was kind of a fun experience because of just how goofy the film is, and how it's honestly, it's like a talking piece. Like, we get to talk about how weird this film is and how much of a train wreck it is. And I'm going to be talking about it on the podcast. No One's a Critic coming up here pretty soon. We're going to discuss this film, but yeah, it's more so just for, like, oh wow, here's the weird film Coppola made. And he's made some, out there films. No, he's obviously made, the mainstream stuff like The Godfather, but he's made some weird stuff too, and this definitely falls on the weird side. Talking about the behind the scenes stuff, he was smoking weed like the entire time he was making it, and it really feels like a stoner made this film. Like there's kind of this deeper message that the film has about like humans have so much potential. We can overcome greed and corruption and all this stuff if we just learn to believe in architecture. And it's like architecture will save us and save humanity. And the ending really feels like this, like a stoner kind of like talking about like these concepts and being like, oh, I sound so smart right now, and you really don't. You sound like it's so like you don't know what you're talking about type feeling. All the actors do a good job. It's got an all-star cast, Adam Driver, Giancarlo Esposito, Aubrey Plaza, the girl from Game of Thrones, Natalie, I don't remember her last name, but the girl who played Missandei. There's a whole bunch of great. Shia LaBeouf is in this, and they all do a really good job. A lot of times their performances are hamming it up, but it feels like intentional. It feels like this film is kind of going for a goofy, out there tone, which I appreciate. But again, the story is just complete nonsense, and it's full of these like fantastical sequences, musical numbers, this very avant-garde stuff where you're not really sure what's happening, but it also doesn't feel like a dream or anything. It's just like, oh, okay, now we're doing some kind of weird dancing going on in the background. What for? I don't know. Because probably just Coppola was like smoking a blunt and being like, oh, that'd be cool. Hey, have her dance up like there like that. So, don't go in expecting much with this film. Like, don't go in expecting like The Godfather or Apocalypse Now or anything like that. This is, it's not even like Bram Stoker's Dracula. It's like even that one had a pretty cohesive story, like a lot of goofiness too, which is similar to this film, but this film is just all out there. Like this is his like I don't give a fuck what we're doing type movie. But I found it fun, and I like that it didn't take itself so seriously. It feels like for a long time we've been stuck in this rut of like films that have to be so serious, and this felt like, you know what this movie kind of reminded me of? I know this is really out there, but the Batman and Robin movie from the 90s, the one with Arnold Schwarzenegger as Mr. Freeze. I don't know if any of you have ever seen that movie, but it's so goofy and out there, and it doesn't take itself seriously. Like, they have nipples on the bat suits. I remember there's this one scene of a giant, one of the buildings is like a giant colossus, and they're like driving cars along the building on the hand of the colossus. And that imagery always stood with me. It was just so like weird and out there, and it was like, this is not practical at all, but it's kind of cool. That reminded me a lot of this film, of like a lot of the stuff you're seeing, the buildings, they don't look practical at all, but that's kind of the point. It's like, hey, we're going for this kind of surreal, magical realism feel to it. And I apologize. I know for a review, it's kind of me just saying like it's impossible to describe, but it really kind of is. And in fact, if you saw the trailer for this film that came out a while back, the trailer itself, like all they do in the trailer, they talk about Francis Ford Coppola. They're like, Francis Ford Coppola is a genius, and you should see this film. And I know why they did that, because you can't really make a trailer out of this film. There's nothing like to really cut together to put in this film. There's no like cohesive story to pitch to you guys that this is what the film is about. Like, they have to kind of sell it about like, hey, it's Francis Ford Coppola's movie, go watch it. We'll see the kind of crowd that it gets. I really don't know. This opening night, it did not look packed at all, but it is a Thursday, so we'll see. But yeah, I don't think it appeals to a lot of people. I think it's gonna get negative reviews. I think you're gonna have two crowds of people. The crowd of people who's like, "Hey, it's a Francis Ford Coppola movie and he's a genius. Go watch it." And the people who are like, "What the fuck is this? Like, I want The Godfather. Like, give me a good, standard mainstream movie." So I think opinions are gonna be really divided between those two extremes. Personally, I view it as like, hey, if you want to see something kind of weird and goofy for 2 hours, like it's a fun little avant-garde piece of like, again, it's kind of like watching like, bad theater. Like you can get some enjoyment out of it even though it's not really entertaining you like a good movie would. It's not bad. Like, I could tell it's full of intentionality. Like, it's clear he was doing what he wanted to this film. It's not a result of like mistakes. Like, it's not the performances being hammy. It's not, oh, they did a bad take or whatever. No, it's like they intentionally wanted this kind of goofy, surreal tone to the film. So you either like it or you don't. But I don't regret watching it. So if any of you guys want to check it out, I definitely recommend it. It'll be fun to talk about either way. We're going to discuss it in more detail on No One's a Critic. So if you're not following me on that channel, go follow that. We talk about every 2 weeks. We talk about different media and stuff like that. So we're going to discuss this film in detail then. But I thought I'd post this reaction. Thank you guys for listening, and stay tuned for the next video coming soon.